So we have the 1988 horror film Pin. The basic premise of which is a lad called Leon, isolated by his strange parents, finds solace in an imaginary friend, an anatomy doll which lives in his father's office, his father who is a doctor. His father has kind of used this thing as a sort of teaching aid, icebreaker, in which he'll use ventriloquism to talk through the doll to young patients about their problems or issues, and he's kind of uses it with his kids in a bit of a strange way, where he'll only have the doll talk when he's there, and he tells his kids the doll's a person, but it only talks with him in the room. You could see how somebody might use this to come across as interesting or add flair to their profession, but really I wouldn't recommend it as a parental thing, especially not as he's still doing this when the kids are teenagers. It's very, very strange. Unfortunately, the doll begins to take over Leon's life and his sister's as well. What can I say? The film's certainly unique. Unlikely you will have seen anything quite like it before. Sure, if you've seen Psycho, I'd say there's a sort of connection there. The film's got quite a slow pace, but its weirdness makes it feel quite different to other films. There's certain points in the film where it sort of toys with you, making you wonder whether there's anything supernatural going off, or whether it's just down to somebody having a mental breakdown. I don't want to spoil it for those who haven't seen it by giving the game away which way this slides, but it's interesting the way it plays with it and leaves it right up to your interpretation up to a certain point before, pulling the blanket back and revealing the truth, so to speak. I'd recommend it if you like films like Silence of the Lambs or Psycho. It's got that sort of psychological feel to it, and it's probably enjoyed more if you sort of value explorations of the mind and what can happen within one, although there is a certain sadness to it. If I was to put this with another 80s film as a double feature, I think I'd pair this up with Child's Play. I'd probably start with Child's Play first and then progress on to this, because I think they're kind of different sides of the same coin, which is hard to explain to someone who hasn't seen it. But if you watch this and you can understand where I'm coming from, then feel free to leave a message in the comments. If I had to give Pin a score, I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10. It's not my favourite 80s horror of all time, but it's certainly a different and interesting one. And to be honest, as much as I love 80s horror, there's a lot of absolute pap out there, which is only worth it for its sort of laugh value. And I think this is a pretty decent, solid film. Probably one of those that's only worth a single watch though. There's not that much to return to, or at least not to return to regularly. Okay, that's Kerr9000 signing off. Catch you next time. Mwah!